There's a group of men called the Firm. They've been running things for a long, long time. And when they need someone to clean up their mess, they send me.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Sometimes we just gotta find something to do. Cheapseat Reviews, we just had to find something to do.
Jane Eyre sucks.
Captain Picard light. Picard-esque.
Picaresque. Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good. Did I do it in a monotone enough voice to mimic Nebula's in this movie?
A little bit less gravel, more air.
A little less emotion. Okay, all right.
She has a very airy kind of... Yeah.
I gotta be very angry with the world.
Yeah.
And this is how people who are angry with the world talk.
It's kind of
no emotion.
It's like the female version of like Neo a little bit.
Yeah, but it's we'll talk about it.
Yeah, sure. I would ask if you've ever seen the show Leverage, but I know you haven't. But one of the characters, he's the muscle of the show, and he always talks like this. He always kind of has that gravelly voice because it shows that he's the serious one. And so she's kind of like the female version of that, whatever that's called. Not quite vocal fry, but it's something like that. I'm Sean Allred. No, I haven't said anything else. I just need to say this first. This is episode 361. 361. Wow. And tonight we're talking about Gunpowder Milkshake, which sounds terrible, by the way. A Gunpowder Milkshake does not sound good.
Very saltpeter-ish.
Yeah.
You know, it's very spicy.
Yeah. Though, oddly enough, I do like the smell of gunpowder. The few times I've gone skeet shooting with my father and brother-in-law, you know, once you eject that shell after you hit the clay pigeon, you know, just, oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, but could you drink it though? Could you drink that smell?
God, no. God, no. No, not even in a little bit. I'm Sean Allred, and joining me tonight, gosh, I cannot get these settings. Listeners at home, I'm sorry. My daughter messed with my mixer. I might sound a little off. I'm just doing the best I can on the fly. It is what it is. My mixer's drunk. It needs to go home. I'm Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, worst fake milkshake drinking ever.
Wait, where?
So in the movie,
Andrew's not here.
Oh, did I say Andrew?
You said Andrew.
Oh my God. His name is still in the script, but I put the middle name for you. Oh my gosh. Andrew is not with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's here with us in spirit and apparently also in name.
Oh, wow.
Gosh.
You were just hopeful. You were just thinking maybe Andrew will somehow show up.
He'll show
in
up.
some shape or form here tonight.
So I do need to say this before I butcher this again. Andrew's going to probably be gone for a little while. He's not taking... Yeah. Well, he's taking
Parole
a break from...
isn't for another 6 months.
Yeah. To what? Did you just say don't listen to us for the next 6 months?
No. I said parole isn't until another 6 months.
I really thought you said don't listen to us. Okay. No, you should... no, he's got some stuff going on. He's moving. He's got a new job.
Yeah, job.
It's a thing. We all go through it. And so he's just taking a break. But this isn't like the break that the two other original co-hosts of the shows took, who never came back. We have a feeling that he's actually going to come back from this break. So with that being said, Sam,
hey, I'm here.
Worst fake milkshake drinking ever, Vector. Oh.
You know, well, first of all, Sean, if there was one way to kill you, I would fake get hit by you and fake hit you all over the place, and then finally CGI some sort of bullet going through your head.
Okay.
So
sounds fine.
That's pretty easy tonight, I would guess.
All right.
But I noticed, you keep harping about how actors hate to eat in movies.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they got to do take after take. There's a shot of her eating cereal in this movie, and I kept thinking, I wonder how many times she had to take a spoonful of cereal in that one shot, right? And if that milk was warm, and it just it was gross.
It was gross.
So.
Well, the milkshakes part 2 was when her and Cersei Lannister at the beginning are leaning over and sharing a milkshake. Like, you can tell that neither one of them are actually drinking. And even my wife said, that milkshake's not going down. Like, and then the next shot, there's less. And it's just, okay, it's fine. You could have at least CGI'd it or something. And making his Cheapseat Reviews debut is Big Nick will start checking all the books at libraries. I'm sorry, hold on. I missed the big word. I missed the word. I got to start over. Hold on. Take 2.
Oh, wait.
Take 2. And I'm not going to edit this out, by the way, just so you know. Big Nick, gosh dang it, that was loud. All right. Take 3. Big Nick will start checking all the big books at libraries for guns from the gag on this podcast.
Hello, gentlemen.
Gosh.
Nick, it's great to have you on with us. Thank you so much for coming on. This is great.
Thank you, and thank you for that wordy introduction. I wouldn't have been able to get it the first time either.
Yeah, well, if I type it, usually I'm good, but I wanted to make sure that I had the word big in there, not just because your Twitter handle is Big Nick, but also it makes the reference to the movie because all the books that have guns in them are the big books. So I needed
that is true.
I needed the word big in there to make it work. But anyway,
Big Bad Nick.
Big Nick. So I'll have plenty of time towards the end of the show, Nick, that you can tell all the fine people that listen to this show what you do and what your show is about and all that stuff. But right now, it's time to get into this movie that is Gunpowder Milkshake, the Netflix original, 2021, right? This just came out.
21,
right?
just released, I believe.
Like,
a couple of months ago, maybe.
Yeah, a few months ago. Yeah, but 2021, Gunpowder Milkshake, and
look at us being current.
Do what?
Look at us being current.
Yeah, well, we've done this recently. We've had some other good stuff. Yeah. I mean, Netflix and Amazon are producing new stuff, and
that is true.
And I think it's kind of good. Like, I remember we did a stretch of Netflix originals that were really bad. Mm-hmm. Like that.
Well, maybe not so. Well, yeah, they were bad. I was going to say they're Saturday afternoon specials. Where it's not movies I would go to the theater to see, but at least somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, like that Kill Command thing was bad.
Oh yeah.
And even the one with the dude that we liked from Ant-Man, like that one wasn't great. I can't remember what it's called. Extinction. Like it wasn't great. It was okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so again, Andrew's not here to do the read, so I'm just going to tell you what, in fact, this movie is: Gunpowder Milkshake on Netflix. I'm not going to do the accent, so don't ask. 3 generations of women. 3? Yeah, okay. 3 generations of women fight back against those who would take everything from them. I don't think.
I guess they're counting the little girl as a generation.
She doesn't really fight though.
Also, wouldn't they have to be related for it to be 3 generations?
Yeah, I would think so.
That's badly written.
That is weird. 3 women fight back against, but it's not even 3 women. There's like, I don't know, whatever. IMDb has failed. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, I mean, what else do you expect?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. That's all I have to say. So, Sam, please tell us what in the world your 5-word review is, because I'm really excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them tonight, and I had a hard time wrapping my brain around this because I really kind of wanted to like this movie, but maybe you can understand where I'm coming from on this one. And the first one is probably my nicest review, and that is Pretty Wick knockoff falls flat.
All right.
Right?
Pretty Wick.
You can tell what they're trying to do, but it's just poorly made. And then my one that just, I guess I'm going to go with here is beautifully shot piece of crap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this movie, it had potential, right? It had the look. it had the whoever was director of photography on this movie did amazing job. I mean, they did amazing. I love the cinematography even with the different shots, but the fight scenes were horrible. You know, I want Wick. Everybody wants Wick or Extraction type of fighting nowadays, and you could tell this was heavily choreographed. And not only that, but there was some pretty bad takes on some of the shots where they weren't landing. You know they weren't landing. It didn't feel like they were landing, and it just didn't look right. And that really took me out of the movie, even if it was pretty to look at. Not to mention, I didn't enjoy Nebula at all in this movie, and didn't feel for her character. She kills the father, right? And that whole daughter not really caring that her dad is dead. To me, it was just like there were so many wrong way road instances in this movie where it didn't make sense.
Okay.
It just didn't make sense.
All right. I mean, not like, okay, so you're saying like it doesn't make sense not in the fact that the plot is confusing, just that the character choices that were made just they don't act like real people kind of a thing, or
Yep. It was, they tried to be stylized in such a way that it was, instead of getting up to an A+ or an A, they're hovering at a C. You know, it's an average. It just didn't feel like it got to where it could have gotten.
All right.
Tolerable. Like I said before, a Saturday afternoon special.
Sure. if it was heavily edited.
Yeah. Welcome to the 20 minutes of Gunpowder Milkshake that we can show you today.
I'm always surprised when I see movies like Saving Private Ryan on TBS or John Wick, things like that. And it's like, or even The Kingsman, they put that on FX FX can get away with a little bit more, but
yeah.
Yeah. Nick, what did you? I know I dropped a 5-word review on you about 20 minutes ago. Were you able to secure one there?
Yeah. So apparently my hot take isn't as hot take enough because my review, honestly, John Wick just with girls.
Yeah.
Because they talk about
right.
The firm, and with John Wick, for anybody, spoiler alert. There's this group of men that run this assassination thing. John Wick has to, go against them. And then at the end, there's one person that really loves John Wick and doesn't want to see him die, but then is like, you know what? I got to put you out there. That's exactly what happened with this movie. And the whole time watching it, I'm just like, it's trying way too hard to be. Yeah, so apparently my take isn't that hot, but that did get me in trouble with someone. They were like, "No, it's so great, it's blah blah," and I was like, "It's John Wick, just with women."
It's not only is it with women, but it's just not as good. It's nowhere close as good. And it was that I think that's because I was expecting John Wick, and it ended up being just so poorly put together.
It's really interesting that John Wick has become a standard by which we measure other movies, because it's on the surface, just such a simple movie, right? It's just a revenge story. It's plain and simple is a revenge story. But what makes John Wick so fun is the world building that we get, and we world build without explanation. And I don't want to get too far into. Basically, what I mean is like, we don't know what the coins are, how you get coins, but like they're worth so much. Hey, I'll give you a coin if you do the thing. Like, oh man, a coin? Okay, great. Like he drops 5 coins and gets a bazooka. It's just like we have no idea how much the value is of these things. But so this movie tries to do that kind of thing too with the library and the ladies, and the diner is like Switzerland because you can't take guns in there, and the librray is not Switzerland, but it's
Hughes
like
shop or
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a geopolitical analogy. I can think of the library. I don't know. It doesn't work really. But oh, I know. The library is America on the global scale because no one really wants to go there, and when they have all the guns. There you go. How's that? I just
There you go.
insulted every
That works.
listener except the few that live in Canada and England and Spain and Germany that listen
Yep,
to our
sorry,
show.
sorry.
They're laughing. I'm sure they are.
Well,
But-
and you mentioned Wick is world building, and you could tell they tried in this one, and then I thought that was actually fairly decent of what they attempted. But I think you're talking a little bit more about the style of fighting and style of gunplay that we've come to expect. And you mentioned certain movies that kind of changed the genre, changed the game, and things like Die Hard, right?
Yeah.
We compare, there's a Die Hard genre of movies, right? There is the Commando type movies. There's all it's
I-
it's
As much as I like the Commando, I don't think that one's quite as
no,
genre
it's not
defining.
as culturally significant, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
It totally reinvents things to a point where now every movie's just kind of trying to piggyback. And I think I don't know if this is the first attempt on John Wick. I would put Extraction as the first movie to kind of piggyback on the John Wick style and do it successfully. But I just don't think it worked.
Well, I think with John Wick, like you said, it's genre defying in the sense that it was pretty much all action the whole movie. There really wasn't much character building except for like the main, John. And with this, you kind of had the same thing. I just felt during some of the fights, I'm like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go. Like I really was just like, okay, we know. And I think that's where it fell flat, is it tried to recreate the long drawn out action of John Wick fight scenes, and it just didn't live up to that, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, well, and I think you're on a good road there, Nick, because we want to see the fight scenes in this case because we don't really care about the characters. We want to see cool and new ways for people to die. I mean, honestly, in this movie, there were certain points where it was kind of fun and interesting to see some of the, what's she going to do when she doesn't have her arms available? What about the guns with the knives on them? How are they going to work together? The chain lady, it's just, we want to see new and interesting way for people to die. And it was almost there, but it just didn't look good in terms of style.
The Suicide Squad had a whole scene in the movie only about this very thing when Bloodsport. Nick, have you seen the Suicide Squad yet?
Is that the new one?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the village that they attack, where they find out, oops, they shouldn't have. But basically, every death in that moment is a, hey, look at me, right? Every one of those is just like the whole thing is almost comedy through death. Like that's what that's meant to be.
Yes.
And it felt like this movie tried to do a little bit of that. Like when she's fighting the guys at the hospital and she doesn't have her arms, so she has to be. It's a little goofy, and there's a lot of other kind of bumbling things. When she beats him up in the bowling alley and hits the guy with the bowling ball, and even the four guys that do the kidnapping, they're kind of bungling and catch their car on fire. Like there's a lot of that, but then we don't get any more of it. Like then the movie just goes to full serious. And so that's where it's like, which way is this movie trying to be? Is it trying to be the violent, goofy version of John Wick, or is it just trying to be the female version of John Wick? I don't know. I hate to keep comparing it to that movie, but it kind of it kind of feels like that movie though, is the problem.
Yeah.
Were any of you let down with just the randomness of the four guys? Like I somehow was like, okay, maybe they're related to the firm. Maybe this is going to lead somewhere, and then they just die, and you're like, all right, so that was a random 5 minutes of my life in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I could tell, they were sent to kill her or something, right? And then they found her in the doctor's office we talking about the same people?
Yeah, the three bozos, as she calls them, or I think she calls them bozos or boneheads or something. I mean,
Oh
she,
no, I was talking about the guys in the masks, sort of like Point
yeah,
Break
yeah, yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, they were just there to act as a foil. I mean, they were just there to, they're just kind of there to be a plot device to move us forward. They're Chekhov's bad guys, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is just another crew that's been sent. Yeah.
well, they weren't sent. They were they are the thing that kickstarts everything, right? They kidnap the accountant's daughter because they know who he is. He takes the money, and then that kickstarts everything, which is what brings, what you keep calling her, Nebula, but that's what brings her into the movie. So I mean, they're the ones that kickstart everything, but their ending is so unceremonious that, I mean, again, it's almost a punchline. The only part of me was screaming at the TV was, there's still so much money there that doesn't look like it burned up. Like, can't you go collect? I mean, let's say they took 10 million. There's probably about 7 or 8 million that looks good. You know, it seemed weird that she just walked away.
Yeah.
Unless, if you want to show it like a bad guy throws an incendiary grenade and it literally, because he did have a smoke bomb or a flash grenade, but like shows something that burns it all up. And okay, then it just felt like there was a lot there that was okay, in my opinion.
But it needed to show that she was serious and that
Yeah.
the money was no real object for her to worry about.
I don't know. I just for someone whose entire career at this point is about doing the things that the firm says that she has to do, to completely 180 pretty quickly, it does seem a little weird. And also,
but that's what the plot had to do.
Yeah, the plot had to do that. And I know, and again, we've had this trope in so many movies. I think the movies that do it well are like the Bourne Identity movies, where the society that created you turns on you, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it turned on her, but it's kind of a bummer because, again, the reason why it initially was mad at her was because she killed the wrong guy, but she was sent to kill that guy. So it's like, it almost feels like Paul Giamatti kind of threw her under the bus a little bit, but then he also kind of helped her too. So we're not really sure where he lands in this whole thing. I don't know.
You think he would have tried a little harder?
I guess. I don't know. He did.
I know Mr. Deep Voice guy was pretty upset about his son dying, but it just seems like there could have been, with so much at stake between these two organizations, that they could have worked things out over a supper or something.
Yeah.
Right. Let's meet down at the Bojangles, or I guess that's regional. Let's go meet down at the McDonald's and have a Big Mac and talk this over.
We've seen that
Not
guy
that diner
before.
over there, because apparently that diner is awfully dangerous to be in.
Oh my gosh.
But let's go down to a joint and talk.
We've seen that guy before, Mr. Deep Voice Man. We watched him in the Witch, the witch movie. He was the dad.
That's right. Oh, I knew he looked so
right.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon
He
as
was
he
great in that.
Yeah, as soon as he
Deep
started
voice in
talking,
there too?
yeah, his voice is like an
Okay.
octave lower than every other human. As soon as
Yeah.
he started talking, I was like, "Hey, that's the dad from The Witch." So he's great.
Nice.
Yeah, he plays that stoic evil really well. He would be a good villain for John Wick to pair off with in John Wick 4, if that's a thing. I don't know if it is or not.
Or John Wick 7. I'm sure they're just going to do that to death, man.
Well,
Keep wicking them out.
yeah.
Right.
Oh,
It's a verb now, I think.
yeah, I like that. That's good, Sam. Keep wicking him out. That's great. I'm gonna. So my 5-word review.
Yeah. Oh wow. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. We're chatting. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is I'm actually cheated. I did 6 words, but last week I think I only did 4 or something. So I'm still, I think, at a net 0. And I wrote, I think we've seen this before.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Well, one movie this reminded me of was something like Smoking Aces,
Mhm.
or there's another one I can't remember, but just the stylized supposed to be comedy, but it's like a dark comedy type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I haven't really said how I actually feel about the movie because we've been kind of talking. So I gathered from both of your responses and Nick saying that he got into an argument on Twitter about this movie, or maybe it wasn't Twitter, but I actually kind of liked this movie.
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not.
I want you to go back and watch some of the fight scenes and see how bad the choreography is.
They didn't bother me. It didn't bother me just because I'm like, well, I know that the actress can do those fights, and I know that it's her. I don't know. They didn't.
The
Nothing.
bowling alley especially is egregious. It is just bad. There are some points where there is a good foot to maybe 2 feet between a fist and a face.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, but I wasn't really looking for it. I don't know. But the only time that I noticed something like that was in the very end in the diner when the camera is doing that really cool tracking shot along the width of the length of the diner. And there's like 2 guys in the back of the room that are being shot through the window. And I thought, who shot them? because you have the mom is kind of at the front of the diner shooting the main guy. You've got Angela Bassett's behind the counter shoving that dude's face into a milkshake. You have...
By the way, that was the one shot, and I was going to mention that later. I loved that transition when he popped back up with the glass in his face.
So gnarly.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It was so gnarly. Right? And then you have Michelle Yeoh, who's running down kind of like down the aisle, spinning and shooting and whatevering. And I thought, how are those guys already being shot through the glass? So anyway, but that was... Maybe
Angela Bassett? I took it as she was the one doing it.
Maybe she hit them with the shotgun before she gave that guy a milkshake. Milkshake to the face. Oh, you know what, Sam? I just realized that what your middle name was actually going to be Giant Tooth to the face. That's what it was going to be.
You got something in your hair there, O.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a tooth. Yeah.
Just a tooth.
I like how you prefaced it though with you kind of liked it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, this is how unfortunately unremarkable this movie was to me. When you guys mentioned it, I was like, I think I've seen that. And then we actually saw it when it first came out, and I was like, oh yeah, we did. I don't really remember much of it. So then when I rewatched it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. That's why because I think you're right. It's not, you're not going in expecting a Martin Scorsese film, but if there's nothing on, it's like, it's not that bad to watch if there's nothing on.
I think I mentioned to you guys before that I watched this at work today and at my desk. And I actually, for an action film, I had a hard time keeping focus on it and keeping up with it because certainly it went from set piece to set piece, but I just didn't care. And like I mentioned before, I wasn't seeing anything unique or interesting, and I just didn't hold my attention like I think it should have.
Yeah, I did watch this one on the big screen TV downstairs, and I watched it with my wife, and there was one scene where she kind of, I think it was the giant tooth to the face, I think was the only part, because I think my wife was eating ice cream in the moment. She's got like the bowl in her hand, and she's got the spoon to her mouth, and then when that tooth squished, I looked over at her, she's got this face like, I got to hold in this ice cream that I just ate. It was just one of those, like it was almost a spit take of ice cream, right? And
that's one heavy tooth, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's that big ceramic cookie jar kind of a thing. Yeah, I say I kind of liked it because, and we've talked about this on the show 100 times at least, is that sometimes a movie can catch us at the right or wrong mood.
Time. Yeah.
And there have been times where Sam will come on and go, man, I didn't like this movie. And we're like, no, but this part was fun. And like, we can kind of talk each other into liking a movie sometimes. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I don't know, I had a good day at work yesterday and I had a good dinner and I was excited for this movie because I remember seeing the previews when it came out and I thought, oh, this is kind of neat. This is kind of like a John Wick, but with the ladies, and there's a bookstore where you get your guns and a book and they use metaphors like they do, because even John Wick, like when he goes to get the weapons for the thing in John Wick 2, he's asking, he has like they're using all these metaphors for the gun, for the different weapons. And they do the same thing. Oh, you need a Jane Eyre and a whatever, and a Jane Austen, so you can read. So I don't know. I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I had a good time. I'm not mad that I watched it, certainly.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not going to win any awards, obviously. I think maybe you talk about expectations, or we talk about expectations, and how you rate something based on the expectations. I think I had too high expectations going into this, because I was expecting something I had never seen before, some interesting take on things, because the previews and the pictures look amazing. The visuals look amazing until you get down to the storyline and the actual fight choreography, and it just falls apart. The most fun I had on this movie was literally making the Cheapseat Review logo in the neon colors.
The neon colors, yeah.
That was the highlight of this movie for me.
Wow.
Well, somebody was telling me that, I guess they have a point. They were saying, like, it's not, maybe we're not the audience or the demographic it's shooting for. Like, maybe they are going for more of the, female audience empowerment that looks at John Wick and is like, I don't dig this, but I can dig, Gunpowder Milkshake over here. And that actually made sense to me. I'm like, maybe you're right. Maybe this isn't my, I'm not the demographic they're shooting for. But then I saw it was rated R, and I'm like, well, I don't know what 16-year-old girl is going to, their parents are going to allow them to watch this then.
Although it is on Netflix, and I'm guessing there's some teenagers out there that can readily get this available.
Yeah.
I know I would have.
I do kind of appreciate that they didn't sexualize Karen Gilliam, however you pronounce her name. You know what I'm saying? Like, they never put her in, she's in that jacket the whole movie. So it's not like there was ever any moments where she's getting her clothes torn off as she's fighting, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of appreciate that. Like, the movie said, no, we're just going to keep it, these are girls and they're women and they're powerful and dangerous, and that's okay, and we don't have to make them sexy, which I kind of appreciate.
The most scantily clad was when she was sewing herself up from a gunshot wound, eating that bowl of cereal.
Yeah,
exactly. Though I will say that
I'm just doing some sewing.
Carla Gugino, I can't pronounce her last name.
From Gerald's Game?
Yes.
Carla Gugino.
Gugino, thank you. Yeah, she I don't know, the library thing she had going on was kind of working for me, just saying.
Dude, she and everything she's in, she is the cougar of my life, I believe.
You and I are cut from the same cloth, because I'm the same way. Anything she's in, I will give a chance.
Right?
I think you actually tweeted that out when I said, this is what we're doing. And you're like, oh, if she's in it, I'm all in.
Oh, yeah.
I did write...
she's incredibly attractive.
I did write, one of my notes was, poor Carla, she survives Gerald's Game, but couldn't hear.
Yeah, poor thing.
Yeah. I did. My wife pointed out that there was a pretty obvious metaphor in the movie. So at the beginning of the movie, she wears the hat. And then she goes to the place to get the guns, and they make her take off the hat, but she puts the hat back on. But it's not until she rescues the girl and the hat blows off. Well, actually, she doesn't rescue the girl. She takes the dad to the hospital, and the hat blows off, and she just leaves it. My wife goes, "You think that's a metaphor for her leaving her old life behind and changing?" I said, "I think you're right. And if that's the case, that's a pretty obvious metaphor." And Sarah's like, "Yeah, but there it is." So I think my wife was right. She usually is.
Yeah, I know. Aren't they all?
Yeah. And she doesn't listen to the show, so I'm not just saying that to kiss up. She doesn't listen to my show at all.
No, neither does mine.
I was going to say, you guys too?
No. In fact, one time on the most recent road trip to Florida, my son said, "Dad, can we listen to your podcast?" And my wife and I kind of exchanged looks, and I was like, No, and then I realized he didn't mean my show. He meant one of the ones that I listened to with him in the car. We listened to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR show, because it's NPR, so they get a little blue, but for the most part it's fine. So I don't mind if my 8-year-old listens. But for a moment there, when he said, "Can we listen to your show?" No.
No. I mean, we would not want to subject them to that torture.
No,
for sure.
No. Well, again, plus we say stuff like shit. So there's that.
Yeah.
I don't want my son hearing me say that. Couple of little notes. I didn't take a lot of notes in this movie.
No.
And usually what that means is that I was so wrapped in the movie I forgot to type things. I think it was just the case of there wasn't really a lot for me to just talk about. I just like, okay, well, here we're in the next place, and now we're in the. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about. So the few notes I wrote was, I love the idea of a network of assassin help centers. I like the underworld. I want to know more about the librarians and how do they get paid, and do they live there or do they just work there, and
why does each one of them have a separate set of skills with weapons?
Yeah, and why, and like, do other bad guys, because the other syndicate guys, like, they pointed, like, they knew that that's where they went, because they went outside and they saw the building, like, oh, that's where they are. So it's a widely known thing. Like, I kind of want to know more about the library. And did they just leave it? Like, does some random patron going to walk in there and pick up the Gutenberg Bible and find a M16 in there? That was the largest book I could think of. I don't know.
Well, you're curious about the library. I'm curious about the janitorial service that comes in and cleans the library.
Oh my gosh, that place was a wreck.
Oh man, the girls are doing it again.
Right. Yeah.
Bring the bleach.
Yeah. We've got to patch all these bullet holes. It's like the same crew that has to fix the lobby of the building in the Matrix. They just have to. Okay, we got to fix all these bullet holes in this 200-year. Man, when that dude sledgehammer guy was breaking that marble, I literally said, he's breaking the marble, man. That's expensive floor.
Well, that's a great case in point of why I don't like this movie. Is that guy right there? When he is swinging that hammer and she's backing up on the floor and he keeps missing her by about 3 feet, I keep telling myself, dude, stop doing that and just lunge a little bit further before you swing that stupid thing. It was for the camera only, and I hate stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
One thing I wish they would have maybe explained a little bit more, and this may be just me looking for something deeper, is explain the kids section. Like, they talked about it, and they were like, this is what they said. One side is like lost in the woods, and the other is something else.
Yeah, undersea adventure or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, why they have a kids section? Why not? I mean, yeah, granted, they ended up killing people in the kids section, but like, what's in the kids section?
Yeah.
And that would make you think that it is a working library.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't have a kids section.
For God's sake.
Yeah. Someone spent money and design. I mean, okay. Who in the hell puts fog in a library? I mean, all of those books are going to be ruined. I'm just saying. It was a cool place to have a fight scene, but as soon as they walked in there, I thought, there's fog on the floor. Why would they do that? You wouldn't do that. That's dangerous.
Sure, it wasn't left over from like a flashbang or something. Maybe
no, because as soon as Michelle
the air pressure was too high.
Well, I don't know, because as soon as she walked in there, that wood section, and she picked up that chain, and I was like, oh, she's gonna kill some people with a chain. This is gonna be cool because she's gonna do like some legit kung fu stuff, which I'm all for. Yes. And she did, and it was pretty awesome. And I mean, her stuff was my favorite. The hammer bit, oh my gosh, when she put that hammer in that dude's mouth and was dragging him on the ground, that that hurt to watch.
Oh yeah, with the claw side.
Yes.
Holy cow.
That was actually kind of painful to watch.
She was not heavy enough to hang that person, by the way. Right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it at the moment, but you're 100% right.
Well, she has the force of coming
like
down, though. Like that. Like, if she's jumping down, she has more force.
Yeah, I mean, I could see maybe snapping the neck, but there is no way, shape, or form is that entire body getting
Yeah,
off the ground.
she's what, $115, $120, and that dude was 210. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I hadn't thought about it until now, Sam. But you're right. You're 100%
But see, that's the
right.
problem. That's what I think of when I see these types of things. I want to see some. I love. I enjoy the stupid fly-by-wire kung fu, but I know that's what they're doing, right? It's kind of hard to hide that.
Yeah.
This is attempting to hide it, and it just doesn't. It didn't work.
Okay. So
And I feel like I keep pummeling this movie.
you can pummel it all you want to, dude.
And-
Again,
and
none of us
just-
worked on it. I don't care.
I mean, we've all had that football team, that professional team that we all love, that we expect them to win a championship. We got the guys, we're going to do so well, and the next year they go, winless, and it's that kind of frustration I think with this movie, where I think it is almost there. It is almost there that it doesn't reach the heights that I was expecting.
As a Cleveland Browns fan, you're speaking my language.
Like the
wow.
The laughing gas and the guys in the hospital, that gag should have been hilarious and just laugh. I should have been rolling on that, and it just fell flat. It just didn't feel right.
I did kind of chuckle at the idea that these dudes are just beat to hell, and he's in a wheelchair, and I think the hallway scene in the hospital is probably my favorite fight scene because of the ridiculousness of it. I mean, her hands don't work, and so when she fires the gun, it's at random, so she might hit the guy or she might not, and she stabs the guy, but the knife won't come out of him, and she doesn't have the muscle ability to pull the knife out. So there was a lot of those kind of that fight scene worked for me. The one thing I was actually kind of expecting, I guess physics would say that it wouldn't really happen, but I was expecting him to pull the trigger on that shotgun and he go rolling back in the wheelchair. I think that would have been pretty funny.
I mean, it did have some funny moments, like when her arms are just getting back.
Yeah.
They go down in the elevator and opens up, and she, accidentally throws the gun. She's like, "My hand's still numb," and they're like, "Yeah, we know."
It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
At least once. No, I mean, and there's moments. There certainly is. It's just too far and few between, I think, for my taste.
Oh, here's a scene that I actually really liked that was different than I have seen before in a movie. The car chase scene was not a normal car chase scene. I kind of liked the idea that instead of just going through the streets of what town they were in and crashing into stuff and just whatever, it was like this kind of cat and mouse thing in the garage. They kept it local in the garage, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. And I just like the idea. Now let's, Nick, I don't know if you have kids. Sam and I both have kids. We both have 8-year-olds. That girl was not 8 3/4. I'm just saying.
No.
The actress was 12, but just make her 12 because my son can barely ride a bike in a straight line, let alone drive a car with her eyes closed in a straight line. I mean,
Yeah, keep it straight. Your eyes are closed? Good. Keep it straight.
keep it straight. I don't know what that means. I have no relative idea of what straight means, but I'm going to keep my eyes closed. But I did like that scene. I thought that car chase scene might have actually been one of my favorite scenes. That in the hotel, or not the hotel, but the hospital fight scene. Probably my two favorite scenes of the movie. Just because they were a little different, is all. And that's what you're saying, Sam.
Well,
Like,
and maybe this is I think you're hitting a button here of where this movie might succeed, and that's so. How can I explain it? That's when we can say a scene simply by where it's at or where it's located, and you know exactly what we're talking about, right?
Mhm.
We talk about the diner scene. We talk about the hospital scene. We talk about the car chase or the garage scene. And I think it at least is memorable enough that we can enjoy that for what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, definitely.
I mean, go back to Wolf of Wall Street, and the reason I'm saying that, it's a great movie, absolutely amazing movie. But if I said the office scene, you'd be like, which one?
Yeah.
You know, the boat scene. Well, which one exactly are you talking about? So I think this type of movie is kind of propping itself up on the fact that you're going to remember some of the crazy stuff that happens in it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to. I think it is. So, the last
Yeah.
note that I took was I like the fact that these badass killer women take such care for the little girl.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just the fact that she says language, and then they change their language, but it really felt like they don't know this girl at all, and they're going to protect her. I really kind of liked that part of the movie where it was
Just because she's a child, right?
Yeah.
Just because she's, yeah.
Because even at the beginning of the movie, when she comes in, Nebula comes in, and the other women are kind of sussing her out, and they're saying, "Do you have a code?" Like, "Oh, no women or children." And she says, "I've killed women before." She goes, "Oh, equal opportunist. Okay, you're a feminist. I got you. That's cool." So like we learn in that moment that she won't hurt kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that. I don't know. I liked the idea that all three of these women were like, you know what, we're gonna do what we can to protect her. And I love the fact that Carla's primary weapon of choice was the minigun, and then when that ran out of ammo, she goes for the axe or the Tommy Tomahawk or whatever she called it. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I will say this last one. My wife actually thought that you want to call him the sub boss who was chewing on the matchstick the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "I really hope one of those women lights him on fire with that matchstick because that's annoying me."
Oh, that would have been a great way for him to go.
Yeah. Instead, he just
Yeah.
gets shot as he's flying out the window. So, yeah, still a pretty.
I did think it would have been funny if they shot him in the butt since he's like flying out the window.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
have
they
a
did though,
bullet hole
didn't
go
they?
in.
They shot him through and through. Like you could see the exit wounds
It
from
looked
being
like
shot on that side.
it looked like it was just going from side to side.
Oh.
I think it would have been in the moment a little funnier if it went like directly up his asshole. Like it literally,
Yeah.
like they put
Oh yeah.
an impact right on his butt and out the front. It would have been funnier. Probably a lot less realistic, but that whole scene isn't very realistic, so that's fine.
What? No. That's exactly how it would go down 99% of the time.
Did you think at the very end when they showed up at Paul Giamatti's house that he was either I thought at first that the girl was going to pull a gun out of the book and shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he took the book from her, I thought, "Oh, it's a bomb." I don't know. I just kept expecting him to get killed, and so maybe they're setting up for a sequel.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I had the anticipation that like they would all be at his front door, and then that would lead to the sequel of him like saying, "Okay, I'm leaving the firm and I'm going to help you because I love you, your family."
Yeah.
I didn't see it going the way it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a neat twist if he decides to leave. He says, "Okay, tell you what, I'll help you take out the firm," and then
Yeah,
we'll
because that's like
yeah.
his daughter. Like the main girl's like his daughter kind of figure, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you guys sort of got from it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's
Yep.
why when he's on the phone with all the bosses in the room, he has to give the kill order, and then he calls her on his cell phone and said, "Hey, I left you a present," or he texts her and says, "I left you a present," and sends her to her mom, so
Yeah.
he could
Yeah.
to give her a better chance. So he obviously does care for her. I mean, Paul Giamatti is not the bad guy, not in the normal sense of this type of movie, That's all the notes I got. You guys have any other notes or anything you want to say before I do some clips? I have a few clips here of the movie.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm
right.
good.
Okay. Well, here's Paul Giamatti. He said boomsticks, and I thought that was funny, so I captured boomsticks.
Get rid of those Stone Age firearms you carry.
But I've had them for years.
Find an open fender and get yourself some clean boomsticks. 'Cause we can't have you linked to that war zone you left behind now, Kinley.
Now, something weird happened. I don't know if you picked it up. When he is starting the first sentence, his voice goes really low. It sounds like he's a transformer for just a second. This is not an error. It might be an error on Netflix, but this is not an error on my end. So listen to this again.
Get rid of those Stone Age firearms you carry.
Right there, when he says you carry, it sounds weird.
Firearms you carry.
Doesn't that sound weird?
Age firearms you carry.
Maybe that's just the way he talks, I guess. I don't know.
It sounds like
strange.
Megatron is telling him to go get the thing.
Stone Age firearms you carry.
I don't know. It's weird.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Time for some reading.
Oh, and an Agatha Christie. For reading.
Yeah, for reading.
I would take any book Carla Cugino gave me.
Mm,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
What? I feel like I haven't seen her in enough things.
She's been in. She was in Sin City,
Yeah, I knew that.
the first one. She was in a couple seasons of Entourage.
I never watched that.
Mm-mm.
I
I keep mistaking her for the Mummy Girl.
Oh yeah,
I
she
don't know
kind
why.
of does look like Rachel Weisz a little bit. You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yep.
She's in. Oh, she's the voice of the ship in the Zack Snyder Justice League. Oh, that's kind of neat. This movie does have a bunch of Marvel or comic book connections, like a bunch. It's actually pretty crazy. Let's see, she's in Batman. She's the voice of the ship. Yeah, I said that. Let's see, she's in San Andreas, Man of Steel, Sucker Punch. Oh yeah, we saw her in Sucker Punch.
That's right. Yep.
Forgot about that.
Yep.
We watched that movie for the show. Yeah, she's in a bunch of Watchmen. Oh yeah, Watchmen. Yeah, of course. Gosh, she's.
Oh
in a
yeah, she
bunch
plays
of-
the mom in Watchmen. That's right.
Yeah, so she's done. So she's done Watchmen, DC, and whatever Sucker Punch is.
Nothing.
Not really a. I guess it's kind of. She
Night-
did Spy
Nightmare
Kids.
from Zack Snyder.
Yeah, gosh, she's in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, Homeward Bound 2. She's the voice of Delilah. Yeah, she's great.
I may have to rock some Homeward Bound too.
I'm pretty sure Delilah's an animal. That's funny. I do want to just go ahead and say it before I forget. Michelle Yeoh is our Star Trek connection for this movie, by the way. Just want to go ahead and get that out there.
Okay.
She's
Is
great.
is the Star Trek connection? Is that like a 6 degrees of separation for you guys? Like everybody
Oh yeah.
always
always-
watched as the Star Trek thing?
It's a Sean thing.
It's totally a me thing.
purely a Sean thing.
I'm a big Trekkie, and I've always kind of argued that just about any movie can have some kind of relationship with Star Trek. I mean, that's what happens when you have a property that's 50 years old. So I mean, it has as many shows and things. So it's going to happen. So she's kind of the big one because she was in almost three full seasons of Star Trek Discovery. So, or two full seasons.
Was she a robot?
No, she's not a robot. No. No, she kicks some ass in that. It's pretty cool. She is a really interesting character. Yeah. Time for this clip.
Just remember, you were spared thanks to an 8-year-old girl.
8 3/4.
Sorry. 8 3/4.
There you go. 8 3/4.
You know, it was like a Shyamalan delivery system for the dialogue in this movie. It just, I don't know, didn't feel natural. But I think it's supposed to not feel natural.
I think that it's okay that she does it when she's Nebula because she's like part robot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because she had the same kind of delivery, though she was using her normal accent when she was in The Circle that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
And she also kind of had, but she also plays super awkward in the Jumanji movie, but she's acting like a awkward 15-year-old girl. So
Yeah.
I think it works in that. For some reason, I don't know. It didn't bother me, but I know what you mean, Sam. It is a little different.
Off-putting.
Yeah, it's a little different. Just like Cersei Lannister, Lena heady. She comes in and she's all like she just takes the scene because she just has such a presence.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of her, here's this.
And horrible mothers.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that,
Come on, hurry up. Where does that go? Fucking Narnia. Go in.
yeah, goes to Narnia.
That was a funny line. I will say that.
Yeah.
That one had me cracking up.
Oh yeah, this was great too. This made me laugh out loud.
Language anime is a child present.
Fine. Fudge you.
Fudge you.
Fudge you.
It was pretty funny. I like that. I'm still gonna be mad, but I'm gonna use different language because of the girl. I liked that. This is the sweet moment of the movie.
There's not a single person on earth I'd rather kill people with.
Thanks, Mom.
Right, yeah. I remember when my mother told me that. It
Sure.
just really made me feel so much better about myself.
Yeah. Now I thought about splicing this with the line from Avengers, and I don't think I have it in my archive. I don't think I do. Do I have it?
We have a Hulk.
Oh, I do have it. Oh, holy cow! Hold on. Let's see if I can make this work. Hold on. This won't be awkward at all. Oh crap! Where'd it go? Dang it! I lost that clip. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. So hold on. Let's see. This is on the fly editing, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So I play this.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
There we go.
That was worth the wait. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that was great. So here's the actual line from the movie.
I have an army.
Oh, yeah? Well, I've got my mom.
There you go. So
Uh,
it's kind of a dumb line, but I like my version better.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
There we go.
Now there is one clip I hope you clipped.
That's it. That's all I got. So
Is it? There is a point in this movie where Giamatti says, "Damn it, Sam,"
oh man, that would have been good to capture.
and I totally figured you were going to capture that one.
No, you're right. I need more of that. It's been a long time since I've captured people yelling at you guys.
I know, right?
Man, I'm trying to think. When was the last time we had? I know we've got the Cornelius, which is a good one.
Yeah.
Do I even have one of somebody yelling at you?
No, unless you taped my wife the other night. I mean,
I would never tape your wife. That's so.
sure.
This is getting awkward. Yeah, no, I don't have anything with.
Yeah, so you're going to have to watch this movie again to find exactly where they said it.
That won't be hard. I just look for anything that he's in. He's.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
a
right.
YouTube clip.
Well, I'm sure I can find lots of just damn it Sam's, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But,
That's just from my wife.
sure. Yeah.
She got a whole channel of Damn It Sam.
I will say we haven't done this yet. We haven't really talked about the makers of the movie, the behind the movie. The director is a dude named Navot, Navot. He was born in Israel, so I don't know if the French do that thing. Pabshuadu. If you break it down, it looks like push ado. Papushado. So he has only done a couple of features. So he did something called Rabies in 2010. And I don't recognize anyone in this movie at all.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, they all have pictures on IMDb, but I don't recognize any of them. I don't recognize that. And then he did something a few years later called Big Bad Wolves. And that is... apparently Quentin Tarantino liked it because there's a quote on the poster saying "Best Film of the Year" by Quentin Tarantino.
Interesting.
Yeah, it won a bunch of awards. I mean, again, I don't recognize anyone in this movie, but it won some awards. So there's that. And then he did one of the shorts on the ABCs of Death 2. They made a second one.
Oh, wow.
In
Okay.
2014, and he was F for Falling. And then he does this movie. So he took 6 years off of filming, 7 years off of filming to come back and do this movie. And he's making something announced called Once Upon a Time in Palestine. So it looks like he's going back to his roots to film something called a genre-bending thriller with elements of spaghetti westerns, war movies, romantic comedies, and silent movies set in the British-ruled Palestine in 1946. Okay.
Isn't that where Quentin Tarantino is now too, in Palestine?
Like right now?
Did he? Really?
I think, because it just seems, because he talked about making a movie in Palestine. So I'm wondering if that's tied to it. Because, I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Palestine. Sounds like a period piece.
Interesting.
I'll have to research that more.
Yeah. On IMDb for More Like This, you have Jolt, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, The Tomorrow War, and Birds of Prey. One of which we've done for the show. I want to do all four of those for the show at some point.
Yeah. I actually just watched Tomorrow War the other night.
Yeah, how was that? Is that something that we should do for the podcast?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's worth at least a mention.
All right. What about mention?
Yep.
for like
I mean, it'd be worth talking about because there's some interesting things they do in it.
Okay.
So I think
I like it.
It'd be interesting.
Time for this.
Yep.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Well, like a lot of Netflix movies, this has very little trivia. So I will read the 2 of the 6 I found interesting. In the diner, there is a menu option for the Fight Club sandwich, which is an homage to the also highly stylized movie of the same name. Apparently, there's a movie called Fight Club Sandwich. I didn't know that. And the 3 aunts, Madeline, Anna May, and Florence, wear the same colors as the 3 good fairies in Disney's Sleeping Beauty, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather.
Is that on purpose?
I would guess so.
I guess. Right? It's just one of those things. I could say, Spider-Man wears the color red due to the demonic influence of his aunt.
Hey, there was something that was... So, Nick, we have a moment, we have a piece on our podcast that we refer to as the Hopping Man, in which whenever the movie introduces a person, usually, and then that person just disappears and we have no resolution of them, so we refer to it as a Hopping Man. It dates back to like episode 20 when we did Dark Man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is a Hopping Man, but this was a moment where I was confused, and I don't think I ever got resolution on, and that is when the women have agreed to fight back in the library. And Michelle Yeoh gets real close to Carla and whispers something, and then they share a look, and then they leave. And I don't know what that was for. Do you know what that any idea what that was for?
I mean, I was leaning towards they had like a loving relationship, but then I'm also thinking it may be like the ending of what's that Bill Murray movie and Scarlett Johansson, Lost in Translation.
Yep, there you go.
Where we're left we're left in this state of we're putting our own whatever into whatever was said. Like we're never going to have resolution. But that's what I took it as. I took it as they developed a relationship and they were just saying like, their final goodbyes. If I don't see you again, I love you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. The way I took it in the moment it was Michelle Yeoh's way of saying goodbye because she knew she was going to die. Because she initiates it. She's the one that leans in for the whisper. And I kind of thought that is, okay, she knows that she's going to go out in a blaze of glory. And instead, Carla's the one that dies. In kind of an annoying way, too. I mean, she took a round to the chest, from a blind fire from that guy, you know, like
Around the corner.
around the
Yeah,
corner. Like
come on.
we yell at when we play video games, Sam and I, we get mad at people that just do that kind of stuff. And so
Shot me through a rock.
yeah. So yeah, okay. I mean, I'm with you there. I just in the moment I thought, what is happening? Because also part of me thought was, you know, whatever you do, protect the girl or something. Like it was, I don't know. I guess you're right. Maybe it's better that I don't know what was actually said. Maybe what's in my head is probably better than what the script was anyway.
Well, I thought it was about that because when you see Carla's face afterwards, she's smiling and she's like shedding a tear. So I was like, oh, that's obviously whatever she said is very touching and moving.
Yeah.
So that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she might have just said, you know, you're sitting on my leg.
Yeah.
Can you move over just a little bit, please? Would be my guess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Just whispering, rubber baby buggy bumper, and walk away.
There you go.
I ate the last cookies in the refrigerator.
Jane Eyre sucks.
Nice. That was actually a tear of sadness, not a tear of joy. Oh, that's funny. Okay, time for that's it. That's all that. It's time for this part.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Top 3. We have done a lot of assassin movies in the last year, it feels like. And in fact, my wife said, didn't we just watch a movie like this? And I said, which one? And she said, with Colin Farrell and the crazy old guy. I was like, Colin Farrell and the crazy old guy. And I thought, and I said, oh, you mean Ava? She goes, yeah, Ava. And I said, yeah, that movie's way worse than this one. She said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I liked Ava.
Well,
not at all. I think this movie is better than Ava, personally. I just think it's a better movie.
I think there was at least better fighting in Ava.
Okay.
I will die on that hill.
I'm not going to argue it. I just, I feel where you're coming from, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You know, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about either movie enough to argue. That point. If it were a movie that I liked more, maybe I would, but nah, not these two. Whatever.
No.
I just think this movie was more fun than that movie. That movie had no joy. It was not very fun. This movie at least had some stuff that made me laugh. And I think this movie was more, I like the style of this movie, so the stylized part was a little bit more fun. The music was a little bit more fun. The soundtrack, we haven't talked about the soundtrack yet, but my script hasn't told me to yet. But I liked the soundtrack. I liked the score, and I liked the music, the licensed music. You know, the slow-mo diner scene over the rock ballad. I liked it. I mean, it's not as brilliant as the church fight scene in Kingsman with Leonard Skinner playing in the background, but it's still pretty good. Oh my gosh. Okay, top 3. So, like I said, we've done a lot of assassin movies. So tonight we decided to do Paul Giamatti because he's in this movie, and we've seen a lot of his movies, but we've not talked about him.
We just needed to find something to do.
Yeah.
What it boiled down to.
Sometimes we just got to find something to do. Cheapseat Reviews. We just had to find something to do. That's right.
I think that's most of our reviews. It's just, they were there.
We just needed a movie.
Right.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we picked movies that are streaming, because, you know.
Yeah.
We're cheap. It's because it's there. Sam, why don't you go first?
I go first?
Yeah, why not? I'm going to mix it up.
Speaking of a comedy action, I like the movie Shoot 'Em Up.
Okay.
With, is it not Clive Owen? There's a Clive Owen.
That.
Did I do that right?
I don't know. I've never seen it, but I think he's in it. I remember the poster.
Yeah, Shoot 'Em Up. My number 2 is Truman Show.
Okay.
So we're getting into drama, and of course, I can't leave Saving Private Ryan off the top of this list for him.
Gotcha.
Even though he's in there like a split second.
Yeah, he's barely in it.
Yeah, I'm going to put Saving Private Ryan up there.
Yeah, he has about as much screen time as Ted Danson.
Yes.
And
Jimmy. Jimmy Fallon's in.
He's in Band of Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting those.
But Nathan Fillion is in Saving Private Ryan.
Is he really?
You didn't know that. He's the first Ryan they come to. When they tell him that your brothers are dead, and he's like, "How did they die?" And he goes, "In combat." He goes, "But they're still in grade school." That's Malcolm Reynolds, man. That's Nathan Fillion. So, great Captain Reynolds. All right, Big Nick, what you got?
All right, so low on the list would be Cinderella Man.
All right.
I think he did good in that. There's one movie maybe you guys can help me. It's the one about Harvey P. Carr, the comic book writer.
Oh, jeez.
No.
It's like it's kind of like a documentary / actual film.
American Splendor, maybe?
There you go. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, American Splendor. And then the top of my list is a very, I think, underrated, not seen enough movie, and that's called Barney's Version.
Barney's Version? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was just on this random movie channel, and I gave it a shot because Paul Giamatti's in it. Very low budget, very independent, but I was captivated. It is very interesting.
It was nominated.
Oh my gosh!
for
Look
an
at all
Oscar.
the people in that. Minnie Driver.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman.
Rosamund Pike, who always looks confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Mark-
many people have heard of it, but
Mark
I
Addy.
loved it.
Cool.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's a picaresque. A picaresque and touching story. Am I saying that word right?
Isn't it picturesque?
But there's no
Picturesque.
T.
But it's spelled weird.
Picaresque. There's no T.
It's almost like Captain Picard, like Picard-esque.
picaresque.
Picard-esque.
Oh, that's amazing, Sam. Oh man, that sounds like something Andrew would say. I appreciate that. That was a good joke. Picard-esque. Yeah.
Picard-esque.
Pickard.
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Pickard. Anyway, picturesque and touching story of the politically incorrect, fully lived life of the impulsive, irascible, and fearlessly blunt
God, who
Barney
wrote that?
Penofsky. I don't know. Maybe Barney
That is
Penofsky wrote it.
irascible. I've never even. I don't think I've ever seen that in print. Irascible.
It looks like something like that. Sounds like something Aaron Sorkin would make someone say to sound douchey.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Apparently, there's FX is pushing all over IMDb their impeachment, a crime story show. So there's that.
Cool.
My top three are a little bit more mainstream, and that's okay. So my honorable mention was Fred Claus. It's a funny movie. I like it.
That's not even a movie I associate with him.
I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember him in that.
He's actually Santa Claus. He's actually Santa in the movie. It's not a Paul Giamatti vehicle. It's that guy that can't form sentences.
Talks a lot.
What's his name?
Vince Vaughn?
Yes.
Vince
thank
Vaughn.
you.
There you go.
Vince Vaughn. So my number, well, I guess really none of these he's the lead in, that I just realized, but he's more of a secondary character than in these three, as opposed to Saving Private Ryan where he's a cameo. So my number three is Paycheck, right, where he's the guy in the chair.
Not Payback, but Paycheck.
Paycheck. Yeah, Andrew. Number two is The Negotiator.
He's in that?
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah.
I saw that on the list, but I don't remember what he did in that.
So remember, we watched it for the podcast, and oddly enough, The Negotiator is our most downloaded episode. I don't know why, but people love The Negotiator. But he is the guy that's able to kind of hack into the computer and help them solve some of the mystery of what's going on.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
so, yeah, Paul Giamatti, his character was like, "Man, just let me go. I don't have anything to do with you. You're all cops." And Sam Jackson goes, "Man, I busted you for tax evasion and computer fraud. I need you here." And he goes, "Okay." I guess I'll stay. So he's great. And then my number one was Turbo.
The snail movie?
The snail movie. He's the brother snail.
Man, these are some deep cuts.
Yeah. Well, yes. Twitter has given us some fun mentions. So Maxton, at Maxton Artist on Twitter, who is a good friend of the show, friend of ours and listener, says the honorable mention for The Truman Show, least to worst, San Andreas, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Saving Private Ryan. So, yeah, he's such a waste in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is a bummer. Andrew Jimison, our co-host, who couldn't make it tonight but participated, saying 1, The Negotiator, 2, Saving Private Ryan, 3, Big Mama's House. I didn't know he was in that movie.
Yeah, he's actually one of the main characters in Big Mama's House.
I've never seen that show or that movie, or I've never seen anything. The only thing I've ever seen Tyler Perry in was in the Star Trek movie.
Well, no, he's not in it. It's
Isn't Big Mama? Isn't that?
No, Big Mama's House is Martin Lawrence and Paul Giamatti are in the FBI, and then Martin Lawrence dresses up as Big Mama.
Oh, see, yeah.
You're thinking of Medea, I think.
Medea, you're right. Oh my gosh. No,
I'm shocked nobody's mentioned Private Parts.
No, let's see. Hold on. Jesse from Sudden Butt says Ironclad, The Lady in Water, and King of the. He says it's cheating, but King of the Hill. That's funny. And then someone named Pedestrian at Best said American Splendor. So that's your Twitter. And then I think we had a Facebook too, didn't we, Sam? We had a Facebook. Oh, Saving Private Ryan from Melissa. So there we go. And I think we lost Sam, which is cool. He'll be back in a minute.
Yep, he finally went away.
Yeah, he'll be back. It's not a problem.
And I'm back.
Time for this.
There's nothing like getting disconnected, and then I'm sitting here listening to you guys and responding, and nobody, like, you're talking over me, and nobody's answering questions, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah. Well,
like, finally, okay, fine, they can't hear me. I need to go try this again.
Well,
but what I was trying to say is I kind of enjoyed him in Lady in the Water.
Okay.
Even though it was one of the downfall Shyamalan films,
mm-hmm.
Just where he kind of goes off the deep end. I enjoyed that movie for some reason.
I didn't see it.
No?
No, I didn't watch it. I stopped. I'm trying to think. Was The Village the last Shyamalan movie that I watched?
Yeah.
It might have been. I watched. I know I watched part of The Happening, and I turned the channel off.
No.
Yeah, that was garbage.
That is the worst one, apparently. Well, no, I'm sorry. After Earth, I think was his worst one, wasn't it?
That wasn't Shyamalan.
Is that not Shyamalan?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
No.
I mean, his masterpiece is Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what a piece of garbage.
I mean, that was probably, I'm still upset that he was robbed from Oscar on that one.
Oh, sure.
So,
as you should be.
Brilliant. It was just brilliant.
Yeah. So The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, The Village, Lady in the Water, The Happening, Airbender. Yeah, he did After Earth. You're right. After Earth. Something called The Visit, Glass, and then Old is his new one, which I've been told is terrible.
Yeah.
But
The Visit wasn't too bad, actually. I thought he redeemed himself with that one.
I haven't seen it. Again,
I heard Glass was supposed to be good.
I heard, I've heard that as well. I mean, well, it's the he did Split, of course. He had to do Split also.
I'm sorry,
that's
Split.
Split and then Glass. That's
Glass.
the trilogy. That's the Unbreakable trilogy. And I've not seen. I've watched Unbreakable, and I love Unbreakable. I think Unbreakable is a really good movie. And in my opinion, that's the last good one. I didn't much care for Signs. I thought The Village was fine. I thought Signs was kind of dumb. I know people think it's a good scary movie for some reason. I don't. My biggest issue is if you're an alien species that can travel between the stars, yet you come invade a planet that's 75% of the thing that kills you. No, it's stupid. It's dumb. It's like if we found a planet that had an alien species on it and we decided to invade a planet that's 75% arsenic. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you plan.
They obviously
plan
didn't.
ahead. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they don't even have
You didn't
weaponry.
You didn't like Split though?
I haven't seen Split. I need to watch it.
Oh.
I haven't seen Split or Glass. Again, the last one I watched of his, actually the last movie of his I watched was The Last Airbender, which I did watch in the theater.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, and again, that's like me saying, Sam, which is my favorite of the Jurassic Park movies is Jurassic Park 3. The part when the raptor talks to Alan, that's the best part right there.
Isn't
Spielberg really nailed it.
I'm so glad you enjoyed a Jurassic Park movie.
Oh,
that makes me
great.
so happy.
It's the best. And then when he talks back to the raptors with the 3D print of the voice box, it's just that is.
I've got
pinnacle.
one of those now, by the way.
Did you 3D
I
print
printed
one?
I printed one out. Yeah,
that's amazing. You talking to it to your girls?
It doesn't quite work the way the movie works.
No, good.
Just so you know.
You should harass your dog with it because she harasses you.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel Radcliffe, here we go.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
This is where we give the movie a score from 0 to 10, and I will let. I'm actually going to let Nick go first.
Oh, I'm going to make the guest go first.
Yeah.
Put him on the hot seat here.
4.5.
He stole my answer, Sean. So,
okay.
I'm gonna be a little. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more for just the colors they used. So I'm gonna give them a 4.51 out of 10.
All right.
Oh, you're that guy, huh?
We have to use a lot of decimals on this show. When you've done 360 episodes, you got to find a way to differentiate between movies.
Yeah, we got to spread out the movies.
Yeah.
Eventually, there's when there's 28 ties for 15th place, you got to start nitty gritty.
So I have the benefit of looking at the spreadsheet, and so I can look back at the movies that we've done recently, and I have to say that I liked this movie more than Trick or Treat. I just wasn't a big fan.
I'd rather watch Trick or Treat.
And I'd rather watch this.
I think Trick or Treat was funnier.
Yeah, and that's fine. And your score reflects that. So my score will reflect it, and I'm going to give this a 5.5.
Oh, well, gosh, we're not that far away. Then.
No. We're a point.
Okay, I thought you were going to come in at like a 7.
No.
What the heck?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
That makes sense.
I gave Master and Commander Far Side of the World a 7.5. I'm not going to. This movie isn't close to that quality.
Well, out of curiosity, what has gotten a 10 out of 10 for you guys?
A 10 out of 10? Well, nothing. But the closest that we've come to that, where it wasn't just the two of us. There was an episode where just a good friend of mine, Steven, and we did Die Hard together, and we both gave it a 10. But with the four of us, the closest we have is Avengers Endgame is a 9.46.
Yeah.
And then our number 2 is Hacksaw Ridge at a 9.25. Infinity War is a 9.21. Knives Out is a 9.13. And rounding out top 5 is Iron Man at a 9.09.
I'm going to have to listen to your Hacksaw Ridge one for you guys to give it that high of a score. I got to hear what you say about it.
Oh, man.
Have you seen it? You've seen it, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is so good.
We loved it. We really did. God. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Well, that's with Vince Vaughn as the drill instructor, right?
Hacksaw Ridge, yes. Not.
Yeah.
Did you say Hacksaw Ridge or Knives Out?
Hacksaw
Ridge.
Oh, you said Hacksaw Ridge. I was reading Knives Out. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah, Vince Vaughn is the drill instructor. That movie is
perfect.
It's my favorite war movie.
Yeah, and Andrew Garfield's the pacifist, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the conscientious objector.
Yeah.
And I also love the fact that on Twitter, anytime you hashtag Hacksaw Ridge, the Desmond Doss account will like your tweet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And obviously, it's not the actual man. It might be a relative, his son or grandson. I don't know who it is, but they will. If you hashtag Hacksaw Ridge and you say nice things about the movie, he'll like your tweet. So
no, he's a 90-something-year-old,
I think
on
he
Twitter,
passed away a little while ago. Maybe more than 90 at this point. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, so we've done a few. Notable other mentions would be like The Wolf of Wall Street is an 8.87.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, we've got some good stuff. And there's actually some other movies that I looked back and think if we were to rescore, it would be different, I think.
Yeah.
Like would Star Wars The Force Awakens still get an 8.43, or would it be a little bit lower? Would it be a little bit lower? Would Rogue One
we also did that
be
right
a little
after
bit
watching.
Would Rogue One be a little bit higher than an 8.26? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Rogue One.
I would too. So anyway, yeah, The Rise of Skywalker. I think we probably graded that one a little too high, also. Just saying.
Yeah,
I've seen it a couple times since we watched it for the podcast. It doesn't hold up already.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, there's some problems. That movie's got some problems, but that's okay.
I just need to stay away from it then, because it still has a fairly decent part of my brain that it enjoys.
You should just
occupying.
leave it there. But you know what else has a pretty decent part of your brain, and that is Big Nick's podcast. Please, Big Nick, tell us your show, all about it. I have a couple more little things I need to do for my show, but here's a good time for you to talk about your show.
All right. Nice segue, by the way.
Thanks.
I am Big Nick. I host the Gag on This podcast. Pretty much we interview traveling comedians, also local comedians to Sacramento, because Sacramento, let's face it, the past 3 years, a Sacramento comedian has won the NBC stand-up competition. Mikey Winfield, Kyrie Shabazz, RJ DeGuzman. So we got some heavy hitters out here. So I just like interviewing the local talent. It's me, my buddy Rob, local comedian Danny D, and then we have a poet / DJ Sharon, and we just interview comedians and have a good time. We released episodes on YouTube Saturday, and then on all podcast platforms on Monday.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
All right, thanks.
Very cool.
The last thing that we do on the show, besides all the little credits that I give, is the quote game. I'm going to scroll here. I'm going to click this something random. How about this?
Shit.
Oh, okay. There you go.
What in the world?
That's from Back to the Future 3 when he's doing the moonwalk, and that guy says,
Shit.
I have a bunch of, I have a little section where it's just nothing but
shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
Under there is a maze of shit.
Yeah.
Whole category. That's nice.
I
Whole
do.
Folder somewhere on your computer.
We ain't found shit.
Yeah. So I keep them all kind of in the same spot. All right.
Yep.
I mentioned this 3 weeks ago and last week, and I'll mention it again. This is our quote game. Participate in the quote game. Send me a message, and I will mail you a sticker, a Cheapseat Reviews official sticker. I got a brand new pack of stickers here that I just ordered, and I'll talk about merchandise here in just a second. But yeah, new sticker. Tell me what this quote is via Twitter or email or Facebook or whatever, and tell me what the quote this movie is from, and I will mail you a sticker. No one has participated yet. I can't believe no one wanted to drop a little Pulp Fiction love my way last week, but they didn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. So this week, Johnny 5 is alive. That's your quote. Johnny 5 is alive. So anyone of a certain age will know that quote.
I was about to say, I'm gonna plaster Twitter and be like, this is one of the easiest quotes ever.
We've had some pretty easy ones too. Last week's was pretty easy. No, last week's was not easy. Last week's was one we didn't know. The week before that was Pulp Fiction. Last week, I don't remember what last week's was.
That's right up there with you're gonna need a bigger boat. Like,
right.
Yeah. Oh, actually, let's see, Nick, if you can get this one. Wanting people to listen. You just can't tap them on the shoulder. Sorry, I'm having to read this from a distance. You can't just tap them on the shoulder anymore. You have to hit them with a sledgehammer, and then you motion with them with something. Anyway, that was from Seven. That was John Doe from Seven.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job reading it.
Now I remember that. I can see the scene in my mind now. Yeah.
If they would have said what's in the box, then people probably would have gotten that one a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
All right, time for... No, I have no more clips to play, except thank you for listening. Thank you, Nick, for joining us. This has been a blast. This is where I say go to our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. Go to our Linktree page, Linktree/Cheapseat Reviews. There you will find a link to our store. Holy crap, guys. We have merchandise. After 7 years of being a podcast, we finally have merchandise. We have t-shirts.
And it's legal.
It's all legal. Yeah, it's legit. Some stuff that there's a design that Sam did and a design that I did on there. So it's very cool, and you can either get stickers or T-shirts or hoodies or face masks or cell phone case holders. There's all kinds of cool stuff. And in fact, we got our first sale today. As I record this, we had our first sale. I'm so excited. We have finally, maybe not finally arrived, but I don't know, maybe we have. So I think that's very cool. So go to our website, not Cheapseat Reviews. Go to our Linktree/Cheapseat Reviews, and that's where you can find the link to our store. And the link will be on, of course, Facebook and Twitter and all that other stuff. Go buy our stuff. It's great. And at CheapSeatCast is our Twitter. CheapSeatReviews@gmail.com is our email. And Facebook.com/CheapSeatReviews. Next week, we are doing something. And that something is Army of the Dead. We are doing Army of the Dead with a new guest next week. Looking forward
Talk about Snyder. Yeah.
Yeah, do a little more Snyder. A little more. It's a longer movie. We'll have to kind of brace ourselves. So there we go. So on behalf of Sam and Nick, this is Sean saying thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.